DOM, which is represented by a construction site. And behind the standard DOM, there is another building which represents the shrew DOM. So let's start with standard DOM. As I said, it's represented by the building because it's represented by the standard building because that's how it... Okay, I will wait. Okay, should I start from the beginning or... Okay, so let's wait a little bit. Can you hear me? Okay, I can talk about something in the... I don't know. Okay, so should I continue from the beginning or from here? It's basically the same. So okay, so I will continue from here. On this picture, standard DOM is represented as a brick and mortar building because the way how standard DOM works. Basically, when you create a HTML or XML document and send it to browser, either way or from file system or from the server, the browser will parse the HTML document and create a bunch of nodes, and partly it will render to the user and partly it will expose DOM API for JavaScript developers to work with it. So it's most basic, and let's talk about some pros and cons. When you are working with standard DOM, you have no need for JavaScript because it's older technology than JavaScript and it's already there basically. Also, it's responsive when you render it and you don't need anything about it. Cons of standard DOM is that it's plain and boring in ways. I'm saying that this is plain and boring because there are no buzzwords around standard DOM these days, and a lot of people prefer to use virtual DOM instead. Now let's talk about virtual DOM. Virtual DOM is here represented by the construction site because you don't give a complete document to the browser, you create some blueprints in JS, as I have here on this diagram. I have here JS6, TS6 and Vue because those React and Vue use virtual DOM the most extensively. It is not their invention, it was already there, but it exists. But they use it most extensively these days. When you have code in JS6 and other two formats, it will be passed to JS engine and the framework. Then will be processed, and nodes that would be normally created by the browser are created there and then passed to HTML engine, and at the end of the day we have a rendered document. Some pros and cons. Virtual DOM is an abstraction. It is an abstraction of normal standard DOM. it allows ease of use, and you don't have to be afraid that you will make a lot of mistakes, because there are ways to mitigate them and stop you before you make them. Okay. The main con of the virtual DOM is that you have a JavaScript overhead. That means that you have to bring a lot of JavaScript in just for the framework, and depending on how you code, you bring also a lot of those blueprints with you as well. Second con that I see as a deal breaker for me a lot of times is that you can't utilize progressive enhancement. I come from a background of developer who for the almost past 2 years worked with applications that can be old as 20 years. So I think that's something that's important to me. For those of you who don't know what progressive enhancement is, it is an approach to web development in general, where you stack things up. So you start with HTML, which needs to be good. Then you add some functionalities with CSS. I say functionalities because CSS allows functionalities when it comes to things like hover animations, and sometimes even advanced stuff like counters. And on top of it, you add some JavaScript to enhance functionality even more, so you can have response from the server and so on. And the last DOM I want to talk about is Shadow DOM. Shadow DOM is something like building in inner block of the several houses. In this case, it is only one house because the image is just too small for that. And it lives kind of independently. Let us see how it works in the browser. It is some combination between standard DOM and virtual DOM, because you have things in your standard DOM, and when browser encounters custom element which usually use the shadow DOM, it looks for the custom element. If the element is found, it will create the custom element which is in the document, and at the end of the process, it will render the document. Some pros and cons of the Shadow DOM. One pro of the Shadow DOM is that it has its own styles. Therefore, it is not influenced by the styles of anything else that is in the document. And it is somewhat independent as well. It is independent in ways. What's that?
Just that. You can continue.
It is somewhat independent in the meaning that if you choose to close Shadow DOM from outside, you can do it, but you can also enable some limited manipulation from the outside, depending on the mode of the Shadow DOM. I will show it later in the code. Cons of it is that it has some JavaScript overhead, like virtual DOM, so it is not as robust as standard DOM. Also, styling can be hard because you need to bring styles to the custom element and show them when you create them. You cannot change styles on the fly like with standard DOM or virtual DOM. So I will go to DOMs and styling example that I have prepared. Okay, I have here two buttons. One is normal button and one is in shadow DOM. I will show you that it is that way. Can you see it? And on the stream?
I know. Yes.
Okay, so as you can see that I have here one button which is in hot pink color and one button which is in shadow root of shadow DOM, that is navy. When it comes to styling normal DOM components in normal DOM and in virtual DOM, you can just have somewhere defined button, and when you change styles to let's say crimson, it will turn everything into that color. But when we are working with shadow DOM, it is not so, because I have defined my styles here, and this remains unchanged. Okay, let's go back. Just some custom elements. Just some custom elements introduction that I would like to have here, because I will show in the next example how it looks like, how we define custom element, how we define shadow DOM. It looks like HTML or XML tag, but the only difference is that you have to have there a dash character in the name. The reason for the dash is forward compatibility with HTML standard. As hopefully all you know, HTML standard contains only one word tags, and by making developers to create tags with dash, you ensure this compatibility. And I will switch to virtual DOM and customs. I created for this. Okay. Can they see it on the stream? Or rather, read it. Oh. I know, I'm just asking about if they can read it on the stream, if it is big enough. Okay, I will wait to change. Okay. Okay, coffee is done. So, can you ask them if it is readable on Slack?
Family Guy Windows down. What? It was deleted.
Okay, so some Family Guy humor on Slack. So I assume that they can read it as well. So I have here an example app in React. I will not go into how React works, because I'm not a React expert. I'm more of an Angular person. But I will go to my button, which is a small component that I created for this for this Indeed, and it is an example of a custom element with shadow DOM. When you create a custom element, you need to create a class. There are autonomous custom elements, and there are custom elements. This would require this is a topic which would which could have its own indeed, so I will not go into depth of it. But I used a customized element because I used extend HTML element, so it gets some semantics from that element as well. In the constructor, I created here on the line 5 shadow root in mode open. The mode open means that the Shadow DOM API is exposed and can be accessed from the outside. If I wrote there closed, it would not be accessible from the outside at all. Then I have here a standard creation of a button element and style element, which I populated with some text content. And then I appended those two to the shadow root. To make it the custom element accessible for everyone, I had to create a name for it and register it with custom elements that are in the browser. And with the and here I had to add it at the end, so it knows when it's loading, it knows it's there. To use this custom element, I could use it here and write something like my button. Let's see. Yeah, it's here at the end of the page, but that's not what I was wanting to show you. I want Shadow DOM inside Virtual DOM, which is basically you can add this button into your React app, and it will function normally, and it won't clash with React at all. Okay. This is time for questions. Does anyone have any questions? I hope I can answer them. There is some lag, usually with OBS. I tried it. Okay.
Is this shadow DOM a way, or like best practice how to isolate components nowadays? Or
I would say so, but at the moment we live in times where we have mostly React and we don't touch the shadow DOM at all. So if I were creating an application without a framework, I would most definitely use shadow DOM to isolate those components.
so does it have a place in React?
Create your own custom element with shadow DOM, it has, but I'm not that much familiar with how internals of React work. So yes and no.
Okay, well, because I still didn't understand from this presentation if it's something that I should try to use or what is it good for?
It is more in the future when React and Angular and all those frameworks start to leave us, and it is probably not at the moment the hottest technology on the market.
Okay, thanks.
Because we at the moment we already have philosophy that we need to use frameworks, and this is more an underlying technology than the React.
Okay, but in like very high level, it solves the issue that with React and other frameworks, you have those styles leaking somewhere where you don't want them to leak. It's like a better way to create isolated components.
Yes, it is a better way to create isolated components, but at this point, when we have components in React, you have to build them inside the React, which it's, this would be a better question at React developers who create the React, if we shouldn't use our components that are in Shadow DOM.
Maybe
Okay.
just a minute, Tomáš, that
Okay.
is typing. Still typing.
I will wait. Also, an obligatory support chart while we are waiting. This is what which process support Shadow DOM at this point, and it's quite good support except for Edge, but it will improve with June when it's finally released. And this one is for custom elements, which is basically the same.
Yeah, Tomáš dodá, just Shadow DOM is not supported by Firefox, Edge, Safari. It's not question, Tomáš.
Well, Tomáš, according to this chat, has some updated information. Although because I use Firefox Dev Edition, which is one version before the normal Firefox is released, and I'd say that Shadow DOM here works perfectly.
Mikuláš Balabán, just a second.
Using Shadow DOM. Yeah, that's one of the sources that I use. And Firefox supported Shadow DOM, I don't know, last year even. I know that I used Shadow DOM last year for something. Yeah, October 2018. So if there are no other questions, I would like to thank you for coming and for watching on the stream.
Yeah. It looks that there is no other question from Tomáš. Maybe yes. We are waiting, Tomáš.
Okay, so let's wrap it up. I will say it right there.
Yeah. Maybe thank you. It looks that this is the end. Sorry.
We'll wrap it up.